Okay, we got the three of you guys in the same exact chapter because as you can see, we all need to be working on the same thing. And that is creating some momentum earlier in our delivery. So we're going to let each of you guys watch your video 2 times here in a row before we dive into what this means and utilize these 4 big leaguers to help drive home our point. So we'll start here with McPheeters. I'm going to guess that's how we pronounce it. McPheeters. So like we said, we're going to let you watch your video 2 times in a row. And then we will get to the next guy. All right. So then one more time. Thinking about what do we think creating some early momentum would look like versus what we see ourselves getting momentum and when we're getting it. Okay. I'll go over here to Mr. Meyer. But we can see the same thing. We want to be able to create this early momentum in our delivery. It's going to help us create some power, some direction, so that way our arm does not have to work so hard to try to throw the ball hard, but we instead are creating that power with the body. So we'll bring that back and let you watch it again. Obviously noting we have 2 very different finishes on these 2 different pitches, even though we start in the same spot, we have that same exact leg lift, our hands are separated in the same way, but somehow one of these throws, we can't even get our back leg to be able to come up and around. And the other one, it comes up and around so much that we fall off to the side. So definitely want to be investigating why we got that big difference. And that finally brings us over to Mr. Hoover. Same thing. But we can see with your note, if I bring this back a little bit, for you specifically, if we can get some of this early momentum going, you won't feel like you need to rip and pull your glove side to really get your energy going forward from your backside. So we can kind of watch how that glove rips and pulls down beneath your knee and outside of your knee. Our body wouldn't feel like it has to do that to be strong with our throw if and when we start to establish some early momentum in our delivery. So again, we can see that ripping and pulling of the glove that will not have to occur once your body gets used to having your momentum go towards the target during your leg lift versus after. So let's get all of you guys back to the beginning of your clip. Back to the beginning of your clip. Excellent. And now let's go to these big leaguers. Devin Williams. We'll watch him in slow motion. Just kind of watch how we can see his body ever so slightly going forward during his leg lift. So what we can do for this is we'll draw some lines on the back of his head, through his head, front of the head. They don't have to be straight. I would like them to be as straight as I possibly can, but trackpad on the MacBook can't always get them super straight. So if we just kind of watch then, and we go through this, let's just see his head and his shoulders. Where are they going? So as this leg is coming up, where do we see that head and shoulders start to go? I'm starting to see them go forward. I'm starting to see those head and shoulders just ever so slightly start to drift towards the target. So that way now, as this leg starts to come down out of the leg lift, and as my back leg begins to bend to load my legs, I'm not just going straight down, 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 but every little bit of my body going down, 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 I'm also able to go closer and closer and closer to the target or further and further away from the pitching rubber. Being able to go down and out is going to help maximize our speed and our explosiveness at which we get down the mound. If we are taking 2 seconds just to get down that mound, everyone and their mothers are going to be stealing off you this year. We need to understand we're in the stretch. That means guys are on base. If our delivery takes forever before the ball gets to the catcher, our catcher has no chance to throw guys out for us. But if our body can be going forward during that leg lift, we're going to be getting our foot in the ground quickly. We're going to be getting the ball to our catcher even quicker. And now he's got all the time in the world to do what he needs to do, right? Watch this at normal speed, guys. This is not slow. Watch how fast this is. Get it up, and he's going. He's off to the races already. Okay, so early momentum to our target. Let's get Ben Joyce up. Watch him. Completely different arm path, completely different delivery, completely different leg lift, but the same thing is occurring. As that leg is coming up, we're going to see his head break that plane of that line. Is just that little bit, guy. That's all we need. We don't need to be falling forward. We don't need to be rushing forward. We just need to be letting that body drift forward. So that way, as that leg comes down out of our leg lift and this back leg begins to bend down, we're not just going straight down. We're not just having our head go straight down, straight down, straight down, straight down, and then try to go. We're going to see that this head is going down and out, down and out, down and out. Now he gets to go out at the very last moment, and this is his path down the mound, not this. So let's go to another big leaguer. Someone that does it completely different than those two guys. Different hand separation, different leg lift. But we notice that same exact drift of his body going towards the target during his leg lift. He's just ever so slightly drifting that body forward, so that way when this leg lift leg begins to go down and the back leg begins to load by bending, he's not just going straight down, but he's going down and out to make his throw. The mound goes down and out, we go down and out. Who else do we got? Kevin Gossman. Same thing. Look how fast that was at normal speed. He's got that leg all the way up here, and he's still quick to the plate. Leg comes up, and we can see before it starts to come down, his body begins to gain just that little bit of momentum. Little bit of momentum. Little bit of momentum. So that way when the leg comes down out of its leg lift and that back leg bends to load our lower half, we're going down and out to our target. We now pull you guys up again, and we get all four of you up at the same time, or all three of you rather, up at the same time. And we're going to see that all of our bodies are going down, 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 more than we're going out, 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 out. So let's get these a little bigger for us to see. Okay. Boom. So, Hoover, we'll start with you, and we will mark your chin and the front of your head. And we're going to see that leg come up. And now that head go down, 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 down. So we'll just continue this line down more. And here's your chin. So all you've done is go straight down, 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 down. And because we have no momentum going forward, your body's like, well, we got no power. How am I going to get power? Well, let me lean back as far as I can and see what happens. Okay. We come over here to Meyer, and we do that same thing. We mark where your head is at, your chin and that head. And we get that leg to come all the way up. The leg starts to go down, and all you're doing is going down, 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 down as well. And now you go straight forward. And same thing, I forgot to do it for Hoover. Hoover, you then go straight, not only forward, but up. You went so far down that we couldn't stay that far down. We had to start going up again. Haven't seen that one before, I don't think. And then McPheeters. We'll do that same thing. Chin, head. And we're going to watch how the head just goes down, 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 down to here. We got that same thing. Let's just lean those shoulders back now so I can try to feel strong since I haven't gotten myself any momentum forward. And now from here, if I had to bet, we're probably just going to go straight forward. Okay. So you guys are all just going down as far as we can, and then we're trying to just push ourselves forward. So we got this little ramp down here that we're using, and you guys are dropping the ball thinking, wow, I'm going fast. But we're not going anywhere. Instead, let's be on this ramp here. So that way we can drop that ball, go fast, go faster, and be gaining ground. And that's what the big leaguers are doing. So one more time, we'll let you watch that head. We'll draw that line a little bit further down this time for us. And we're going to see all those big leaguers by this point in time, at least their noses would have been on the other side of that line. Your leg now goes almost all the way down from that leg lift, and we're still behind this line. And then now we went so far down, we got to come back up. Even though our throw has got to go down. So you went down, now we got to go up just to throw the ball down. Rather than going down and out, so we don't go so far down, so that way the throw can still go down. We get Meyer up. Same thing. Bring it to the beginning. Draw that line further. That was a bad angle line. Draw that line further down. Let you watch it here again. And see that your head is just going to go down, 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 down. Again, by this point in time of that leg lift getting to the top, we would have seen these big leaguers' heads at least to there. And now we're going to go down, 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 and then we're just going to go forward, 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 forward. And then that same thing, I can't remember who we did first. Oh, no, I do know. McPheeters. You'll have to let me know when I see you on Saturday. That same thing, and we're staying behind that line, and then we're trying to go forward. So that's what I mean, fellas, when I say establish some momentum early in our delivery. We got to feel our body wanting to go forward, go forward, go forward before that leg gets to the top. So that way when the leg is going down, we are already off to the races. Gaining ground before that leg goes down, so we're off to the races. Gaining ground before that leg comes down, so we're off to the races. Gaining momentum forward before we go down, so we have energy going to our target. So if we want to practice this and we want to get good, we need to be utilizing our resources. Your guys' best resource for this kind of stuff is my YouTube page. Go to it. This is the main page. Scroll down. How to get better. Well, I want to get better. Click the mechanical drill playlist. Look at that. The very first drill. How to gain ground during leg lift. That's what I need to work on. Click that video. Go through stage 1. Go through stage 2. Go through stage 3. Come ready to show me these drills on Saturday. Okay, we got the 3 of you guys, Dyer, Drury, and Grayson, together in the same chapter because we all have very similar things that we need to work on, and it involves our throwing arm and how we are getting it loaded and ready to throw. Sorry, that's my dinner. Are going to be working on loading our arm up into a good, healthy, strong, safe position. So what we're going to do first is we are going to let each of you guys watch your video 2 times through, and then we will get those big league videos up to really be able to help us see what we're trying to work on and how we're going to fix this issue with our arm, so that way our arms are staying healthy, safe, and strong. I'll get that back to the beginning. Okay. And we'll go to Drury. Same thing, looking at how your arm is loading and watching that during these 2 times that we get to see it. And then we'll play that again for you here. Paying attention to that throwing arm and how it's getting into its loaded throwing position as that foot's getting into the ground. And we will now get to Grayson. Seeing that we want to keep the elbow up, meaning your elbow is getting there at some point. We just got to make sure it's able to stay there. So we'll watch as your hands separate, watching where that arm goes with the ball, and noticing how that elbow does not stay up. So we'll let you watch that a second time to take things in. Okay, so we'll get these big leaguers out here. We'll start with Corbin Burns. See how fast that delivery needs to be going. We'll get it in slow motion here. And what we'll watch, guys, we're just going to pay attention to his throwing arm. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at that throwing arm. Once that front foot, bam, gets into the ground. And we're going to draw some lines here from one shoulder to the other, from the shoulder to the elbow, into the elbow to the hand. And we can see from shoulder to elbow is the same line. We'll use Jack Flaherty. I'm sure you guys know who that is when he was with the Tigers. But we'll pause him as well once his front foot hits the ground. Right there. And then we can even just drag him over to about right there, and he's going shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to elbow, elbow to hand. But we can see that that elbow is at the same level or the same plane as his shoulder. And let's get our third pitcher, Pablo Lopez, who I'm sure you guys have heard of before since Minnesota is in that same division as the Tigers. We'll pause it when his front foot, bam, gets into the ground right there. And we can drag him down here as well and see that he goes from shoulder to elbow to hand. So if I then kind of make these guys a little bit smaller so we can see them all at once, boom, and then boom, and then we can keep him big. We can see how it's there, there, and there. This is a good, strong, healthy, loaded throwing arm position. what we can say is we can think of our angles. Our elbow is in a 90-ish degree angle, and this armpit is in a 90-ish degree angle. 90-ish degrees, 90-ish degrees, 90-ish degrees, 90-ish degrees. If we now come to you guys and we look at that same thing and we pause all of you guys at foot strike, if we pause you guys when that front foot hits the ground for the very first time, and then make you smaller, and then we get you up, and we make you smaller, but first get you over to when that front foot hits the ground. Okay. Right there. All right, so now we're going to draw our lines. Grayson, shoulder to shoulder is relatively straight, and then shoulder to elbow is dipping way down, and then hand is really tight. So we got less than a 90-degree angle in your armpit and way less than a 90-degree in your elbow. We come over here and pretty much the same exact thing. This elbow is almost touching your ribs, and this hand is trying to be in a 90-ish degree angle. It's probably closer to like a 70. This is like a 10. This is like a 20. Okay? And then Dyer, you may be thinking, well, what the heck? Why am I in this? I look pretty darn good. Well, if I get you big and we go into detail with you first, let's go to the beginning. Load my hand with my elbow was your specific note. So what we're going to talk about is noticing how your hand very quickly gets above the elbow. And then it's like, well, shoot, maybe I shouldn't be above the elbow yet. So then your arm kind of gets here where things are more level. And then the arm starts to load up like it's doing now. But as that hand is loading up, we can kind of also see this elbow wanting to start to throw. So we never really get it to a loaded position. Not saying it's going to stay there or pause there ever, but we want to kind of think that kind of gets there, bam, and now I come out of there. So something we can think of, if you want to be a guy whose hand is going to be coming up early like that, I highly recommend that you go onto my Instagram where you can look at all these videos that I'm playing here and look for my Ben Joyce video and just watch the crap out of that, because Ben Joyce pulls his hand out above his elbow early like you, maybe not as early as you, right? Yours is almost right away, hand above elbow. Ben Joyce gets down low, but then he very quickly gets hand above elbow, right? So now you guys are in similar positions with his back arm, except for the fact that your hand gets so high up and then the elbow's like, you know what? We'll get up too. Versus we kind of watch Ben Joyce here, it's just really that hand that's leading the way. The hand is staying with that elbow. Whereas your elbow kind of goes and then the hand kind of comes. If we can kind of see that right in this window of time, right here. Right here. We can even kind of see how the hand kind of changes orientation. Instead of that movement there, let's just take it back this way. Let's just take it back behind our body. Let's take it back. Let's take the hand up. Let's take the arm back. And that's just going to help take some stress out of the arm from having to do all these kind of extra movements. Right? Kind of having to do this extra movement like. So that's the specifics for you, Mr. Dyer. I would think about trying to turn yourself into a Ben Joyce imitator, because his arm is probably the closest that I can think of to yours in terms of this position when it's there. And then not having the elbow pop up after, but it's just the hand that pops up. Drury, we get into a little bit more specifics with you. And we're good in this spot right here. We're good here. We're good here. But we just now got to learn how to raise the hand above the elbow. Hand above the elbow. Raise this up. Don't drop this down. And what we're going to see is there's a lot of elbow going down versus hand going up. So instead of the hand going up, we got a lot of elbow going down and hand going up at the same time. Instead of just staying here and loading it up, loading it up, loading it up. We get back to one of these big leaguers, Corbin Burns. Actually, that red background's kind of tough with the red marker. We'll go Flaherty. Okay, well, if we get him here, that's similar to you there, right? You guys are in similar positions with the gloves and the throwing arm. And we're going to watch how you get that load going versus Flaherty's load get going. See how that hand keeps climbing? That hand keeps going up. So that way, if we said anything, here's that bottom of his elbow, and his elbow is still in that same plane. Here's the ball. Now here's the ball. Hands going up. Elbow is not going down. We draw a line on back here. Here's your elbow line. Oops. And here's your ball. We take you forward, right? And now your elbow's gone down. Your hand's gone up, but that elbow is still down and into your ribs. We need to get that elbow out over here. We're going to do that by getting the hand to load up more, which then gets us to Grayson. And Grayson, you're there, dude. You're already here. You're already in that great spot. Your hand's already coming up. And then just for whatever reason, this thing falls down. For whatever reason, that elbow is just falling down. And then now you're not elbow to shoulder anymore. In fact, your shoulders are going down and your elbow is also going down, and then your hand's in this tight window. And that makes it very tough for you to try to throw this baseball. And that's why you got so much of you going that way. And then your arm gets flung out that way. You can see that even on your face. You're like, oh my goodness, this is so stressful. How do I get this ball out in front? And now you're releasing this baseball right here versus getting that release out there. So all three of us can really just work on having our back up against our bathroom wall, staring at the bathroom mirror, throwing arm, elbow up against the wall. So that way from our elbow to shoulder to the other shoulder is nice and straight in that mirror. And we just work on raising the hand up, raising the hand up, raising the hand up until it touches the wall. And just do that for like 30 reps. If you keep pushing that elbow in hard and you raise that up, after 30 reps, your shoulder's going to get burning, which means your shoulder's getting stronger. So that's good. And not only that, your brain is going to be burning that muscle memory out throughout your body. So that way, eventually, you'll just be able to do it on your own. And then when you want to challenge, then you can step away from the wall a little bit, have your hands together, get them out to here, have those elbows touch the wall, and then raise that hand up. And as that hand gets raised up, that elbow comes up to getting even with our shoulders. We're down here, hand comes up. We're down here, hand comes up. And you guys need to be doing like 100, 200 of those a day for the next month. if we want to have this muscle memory start to kick in for us. All right, guys, we got the three of you in the same chapter here because all three of you have very similar adjustments that we're looking to make, and that involves the front leg and the rotation. Howard, we do have both the front and the back leg that we're going to want to learn how to rotate on time. And then Kello and Bright were both just specifically focusing on our front leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to let each of you guys watch your video 2 times in a row. And then after all three of us have watched our video twice, we will get those big league videos up. So that way we can use those guys to help explain what we're looking to do. And then we'll come back to you guys to show again what you're doing instead. And then we will show you where you can find the drills that's going to help you learn how to create the new muscle memory that the big leaguers are doing, so we can get further away from your current muscle memory and gain the confidence that we can make adjustments in our delivery. So thinking about the note that we have at the beginning of your chapter and kind of paying attention to what that could potentially look like in your delivery. And then trying to remember what it is that you saw yourself doing in your video for when it comes time to watch the big league videos. So I'll bring that through again for you, Howard. Watching that rotation and that lower body and the timing that it's doing it at. And then we'll get to our last guy here, Mr. Bright. Looking at the rotating your front leg versus opening up your front leg. So what would it look like to rotate something forward versus just opening up? And we'll play that a second time for you. Rotating my front leg forward versus opening up my front leg. Wanting to keep my body closed until the last possible second versus opening it gradually and early. So let's use Jacob deGrom here. We'll let it go in full speed. So you can see how quick and aggressive we need to be in the stretch. And then we will get this paused, bam, when that front foot hits the ground. So what I like to think and tell guys, especially young guys like yourselves, imagine we got lasers shining out from our kneecap and from our toes. In the beginning, those are facing towards, for you righties, third base dugout. For us lefties, first base dugout. As the leg comes up, maybe they start to angle like towards third baseman or towards first baseman because we got some type of angle with it. But ultimately, when that front foot gets into the ground after this stride here, we want those lasers to be going from the side to our target. So what we're going to watch is during this window of time here, that front leg and the back leg, but the front leg specifically is rotating and then getting those lasers shining towards our target. All while those shoulders stay sideways and we have not begun yet to rotate forward to throw. We're creating tremendous potential power in our body. The kinetic sequencing of these movements is absolutely perfect. That's why Jacob deGrom can weigh 165 pounds and throw 100 miles an hour on the regular effortlessly. So we then get our next big leaguer up, a guy who's been doing it for just as long, probably even longer. Completely different leg lift than DeGrom. Completely different stride or leg path than DeGrom. But those lasers are still the same, right? They're starting out over there from the kneecap and the toes. The leg comes up. The leg comes down. The leg comes out. And as that leg is coming out, those lasers begin to rotate. The knee, the foot, the hips begin to rotate. Begin to rotate. So when that front foot gets in the ground, what can we see? You can see that belt buckle. We know these hips have rotated. What can't we see? Any of the front of his jersey. Not because the glove's in the way, but because his shoulders are square. We see more nameplate and number than we would of his team name in the front. Chin, shoulder, glove finish into armpit. Again, another guy whose kinetic sequencing is perfect. So if we then put him there, and then we get DeGrom over here, we got two guys who look almost identical in terms of the lower half. So if we then pull you guys back up and we do that same thing, we just focus on our front video and we pause when your front foot gets in the ground. We can say it's in the ground right now. It's not fully in the ground, but it's already in the ground. And then we'll get our next guy. We'll put you right there. We'll do the same thing. We'll pause you and that front foot gets into the ground. Actually, we're going to put you over here since you're in a different category of your own for this. And then we got Mr. Howard, who will slide in the middle. We'll get your, again, when your foot gets in the ground, it's right there. It's not your whole foot, but that's your foot getting in the ground, is that inside part. We'll slide you right there. We'll get Bright back up. All right, so there's us three. Now, we talked about those lasers, right? We can see Bright's lasers are, in fact, going to the target. We see these lasers. We just kind of follow this. That laser's going there. And this laser's tilted on the side and also going there. This laser is going almost that same direction. This laser's tilted as well and also going to the side. So Bright, if we remember, your note we said was rotate forward versus opening up. So even though your front leg did all the good rotating, it's doing the rotation this way. This way. And what we can see is when it does that, watch your front shoulder. Your front shoulder is in good alignment, but as this leg really reaches over there, it takes that shoulder kind of with it. And now our shoulder's opening up because our stride opened up, and now we're just losing some of our power into this direction. So if we kind of thought a line from like your heel towards home and then from your toes towards home, this is straight. Anywhere in this here is straight, which means anything outside of here would be opened, and anything over here would be closed. Just like when we hit, we can start with our stance open, close, neutral, and then we could step open, close, neutral. Same thing with pitching. We're starting neutral. Foot gets to close so we don't open early. Then it gets to neutral, and we got to get it down in this alley here. But yours keeps going over here to that open lane. And when the stride opens too much, that front shoulder is going to start to open. And once that front shoulder starts to open, now our power is getting sent and leaked over here, and we got less of it to rotate here. And that's why we got kind of a lot of your head that wants to keep going this way before it stabilizes and is able to go forward. So if we're going to try to rotate all of our power forward, we want to make sure that that front foot gets down forward so everything else can follow it forward. Instead of having to follow the stride for a little bit first and then go forward. Right? We watched DeGrom. We're going to see DeGrom's head is going to be able to, oops, that's the volume. DeGrom's head gets to just keep going forward. Keep going forward. Going forward, going forward, going forward, keep going forward. And that's because his front leg went forward and allowed him to keep going forward. Same thing with Wheeler. Wheeler's head has been going forward, 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 and it's going to keep going forward. There's not a whole lot of need for it to go this way because the leg wasn't going that way. The leg went straight, he's able to go straight. So the good news is your leg knows how to rotate. We just got to teach it to rotate more. As long as we could, I'll even give you this, bud. If this part of your foot can be just barely grazing this white line, so when your foot hits the ground, there's no green between the white line and your foot, we're winning. I'll take that victory all day, right? But we can see you got almost a full foot that can go here, and we would still see some green. So we just want to get this thing over here so that way we can rotate here without having to go this way first and then try to go forward from there and then try to go forward. But always be going forward. Always be going forward. And for you, that's going to be because of where that stride goes. Rotating your front leg, I should have put forward versus opening up my front leg. We get then to Kello, and we can see because your front leg is not rotating at all at this point, you're hitting that big toe on the inside first, and then the inside part of your foot hits, and then it's going to have to roll over to get the rest, and all the meanwhile, this knee is still trying to rip to get that laser facing forward. Your body is never going to want to throw the baseball if our lasers are going into a dugout. We got to get those kneecap lasers going to the target. It's going to be a lot easier to get those kneecap targets going, or those kneecap lasers to the target if our toes are to the target. But when our foot lands sideways, it's going to be impossible for the kneecap laser to be there. So we got to learn how to rotate this front leg before it hits the ground, not rotate the front leg after it hits the ground. And that's why you almost roll your ankle each pitch, is because that foot's having to spin so much this way because the knee is spinning so much that way. Now just imagine if you got cleats and dirt. That ankle ain't going to be able to do any of that movement. You're going to have very sore ankles as you get older and we get pitching more and more downhill. And that leaves us with Mr. Howard. Same thing, right? You may not be the big toe, but you are very much the inside part of your foot lands first. And the reason that's happening is because your knee is not rotating enough. Your lasers are going over into the dugout. But like we just said with Kello, we're not going to be able to throw with that kneecap over there. Your kneecap is going to have to come shine that laser towards home plate. And now that it's finally gotten towards home plate, now we can start to try to drive this power forward. But boom, that throw's already out. Okay. Your note was not just the front leg, but your entire lower half. So we need to look at this back leg too, right? We just spent all that time with you and your teammates on how to rotate that, or what we need to do with that front leg. We also need to think when this front foot hits the ground, this back leg is rotated too, but your back foot's still stuck on the ground, your back knee hasn't rotated, and your hips are still completely sideways. Like we said with these guys, their belt buckle is facing forward. If we watch this back foot, we're going to see this back foot as the front foot is rotating and going forward. The back foot is rotating. The back foot rotates while the front foot's still in the air. The back knee rotates. Oops, that was a bad circle. The back knee rotates forward while the front foot is still in the air. The back hip comes rotating forward while that front foot is still in the air. So that way, by the time the foot gets into the ground, we can see that belt buckle. So we need to work on front leg and back leg rotation, Mr. Howard. And to do this, guys, if we want to be practicing at home, we need to use our resources. And the best resource that you guys have is utilizing my YouTube page. Go to it. Here's the home page. All you got to do is just scroll down a little bit to where it says how to get better. I want a stronger arm. Go there. If I want to have better lower body that's stronger and controllable, go there. If I'm looking to work on some mechanics, I go here. All of us need to learn how to rotate our front legs. We need to find a drill here that talks about rotating. Oh, look at that. Front leg rotation drills. Boom. There's a 1 minute explanation of how to do that drill. I think we all got 1 minute to learn something and then 5 minutes to do it every single day. And then my man that's got to work on the backside rotation. Here's a backside rotation drill. Again, 59 seconds to learn something and then 5 minutes to work on it. Okay? Work on our drills, guys. Find other drills that you can work on as well in here maybe. Maybe we find some throwing drills or some medicine ball drills that can help. Like I said, there's the lower body stuff. We can go in here, 22, 21 videos, and we can be doing stuff in here that's going to help us be able to rotate our legs better. Okay? Use these resources every day so we can get better every day. Because someone else, I can promise you, is out there practicing every day, and they are your competition. Whether it's this summer or at high school tryouts, there's someone out there that's working more than you. And that should motivate you to work harder so you're that person that someone else is referring to when they say someone is out there working harder than you. We're going to let you watch your video 2 times as you kind of view what it is you're doing and compare that to the note that you just saw. And then we'll get a big league video for you to kind of watch to see really what we mean by the note. And then we'll get you understanding where you can find some drills to help you work on this. So that note that was provided at the beginning of your chapter mentions rotate to throw. So we need to rotate to finish. We rotate to throw, so we need to rotate to finish. And this is what we're not doing. We're not rotating to finish right now. So currently, if we had a laser shining out your chest, it's facing us. And it was the same thing if we had one shining out your belt buckle, it's also facing us. And then when we go to throw this baseball, those lasers are now, of the chest and the belt buckle, are facing home plate, which means they have rotated 90 degrees. Then they're going to throw this baseball, and your shoulders rotate maybe another 10 degrees, but your hips never rotate more. You can see how at the end of your throw, your chest and your hips are just facing the target. So somehow they went from facing this way and this way to now this way and this way. They did all of this rotation, but didn't need to do any more of that same type of rotation to slow that down. So if we think about you being in a car and that car driving 5 miles an hour only, and then you slam on the brakes, your car can come stop right away. But if you're driving your car even 50 miles an hour and you slam on those brakes, your car is not going to come to a stop right away. It's going to slow down a lot and then come to a stop. So same thing, if our car, or how fast we are rotating, is able to just stop that's either not healthy for our car or our car's not going very fast. And I doubt that you're up here just lobbing the baseball, so it can't be that. So what we got to understand is these shoulders are going to rotate. Keep rotating them. These hips are going to rotate. Keep rotating them. That way, when we get done with our throw, with our pitch, we don't just have this back leg staying behind us. This back leg staying behind us. But we need to get this finished. And we need this chest to get finished as well. So I'll get a big leaguer for us here. One from the front, and one from the side. So we'll get a front view of a guy. Who can we use? We'll use Jacob deGrom. And then, well, we might as well just use Jacob deGrom then from the side. So and we'll watch both of these and notice how we can see the New York. Well, obviously it's blurry right now, but we know he's got New York on his chest. And then at the end, we can see his name and his number. In the beginning, we can see his belt buckle. And then at the end, we can see the back of his pants. His shoulders rotate to throw, and then they continue to rotate to finish. His hips rotate to throw, and his hips rotate to finish. We look at that front view of deGrom then, and his shoulders rotate to throw, and they rotate to finish. His lower body rotates to throw, and then rotates to finish. And that's not just a Jacob deGrom thing. That is a pitching thing. We can use Hunter Green. Rotating to throw, rotating to finish. Hunter Green has by far the most 100 plus mile an hour fastballs from a starting pitcher. And it's not just him. I can pick anyone. We'll go Yuri Perez. All the way, rotating all the way around. That's way too slow, right? Casey Mize, you know that name. Rotating all the way around and not just giving up at the end. So that's what we mean when we say if we're rotating to throw, we need to rotate to finish. So if we want to practice this, we need to utilize our resources. The best resource for you guys for pitching, I'll continue to harp it, is my YouTube page. Go over here to the mechanical drills under the How to Get Better section. And then rotating through release, the very second video here, finishing my pitch. 2 minutes to learn how to do it, and then you can be doing it for 10 minutes every day for the next month and a half, and then it'll be ingrained into muscle memory for you. But you got to put in that daily work if we want to make improvements. Mr. Chimner, we got your video synced up. We'll let you watch it 2 times in a row, and then we'll revisit that note that was provided at the beginning of your chapter, and then we will get you excuse me, a big league video or two to help illustrate that note, and then we'll show you where you can find some drills that are going to help create this new muscle memory for us. And that note that we had was we want to have the thought of our front foot getting down first, then we can begin to rotate the upper body to throw. Right now, what we're going to notice is that front foot is not fully down into the ground before your shoulders begin to rotate, and instead the shoulders start to rotate as that foot is getting into the ground. So if we look at the front view here, I'm going to pause this video once this front foot gets all the way into the ground and our weight gets on it. Once this front foot gets all the way into the ground, and our weight gets on it. And we can just see how much our shoulders have already begun to rotate around. As your foot's getting into the ground, your shoulders are wanting to rotate early. We can, like we said, we can see your arm on this side of your body. When we look at these big league videos from the front view, we're going to see that their arms are back here when that foot's hitting the ground. So if I pull up two, let's see, we'll go Devin Williams. Are we going to just do this actually? So we can get multiple guys in there. We will do this. All right, so we got 3 guys here that are synced up to one another. And I'll pause them when their front foot gets into the ground. Right here. And we can see how their shoulders are still completely sideways as their belt buckles are all going to the target, indicating that their lower halves have all rotated forward. All while their upper halves are fighting to stay back. And as we can see, this baseball is behind the head, this baseball is behind the head, and this baseball is behind the head. We come back to you at this point when that front foot of yours gets into the ground all the way, and you've already begun to rotate your shoulders forward. So we'll leave these guys here, and we'll go to the next one. And these guys have lower arm slots than those last guys, but the same thing. When that front foot gets into the ground, we can see where that arm is loaded, where that arm is loaded, and where that arm is loaded. Their shoulders are sideways still, but we see belt buckle, and belt buckle, which tells us their lower halves have all rotated forward, and their upper halves are fighting to stay back or fighting to not rotate. We can then come to the next crew of guys. All these guys throw over 100 miles an hour. Pause them at that moment that their front foot gets in the ground, and we can see baseball behind the head. Here's the arm, and here's the arm. And what's the theme that we said? The upper body is fighting to not rotate, aka stay back, while the lower half is rotating forward. So we can see the belt buckles, but we can't read their jerseys. And then all the power of the throw comes after. All the shoulder rotation comes after the front foot is in the ground. And then we come back to you, and again, these shoulders are just starting to rotate before that front foot is all the way in the ground. So we're going to want to learn how to keep these shoulders back while the lower body rotates. Another term for this is upper, lower, half separation. My upper half of my body rotating differently than my lower half. And for pitching, that means the lower half rotates and the upper half does not. Another thing to think about it is my shoulders do not rotate, my hips do rotate. So the separation between my shoulders and my hips, or the separation between my upper half and my lower half. We want to work on drills that's going to help us have better upper lower half separation or better hip shoulder separation. Because right now, as your lower body rotates, so is your shoulders. And that's why as this front leg continues to rotate into the ground, into the ground, into the ground, your shoulders begin to rotate around. So we're going to want to use our resources. The best resource you have available for pitching, I have to imagine, is my YouTube page. Come here, scroll down, how to get better, mechanical drills, view full playlist. And like I said, anything that is hip shoulder separation. Look at that, series 6. So that means there's more than that. Oh, look, series 7, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. So there's 7 different videos that can help you just with that separation. This drill over here, there's some progressions in it that would be helpful for you as well to learn how to rotate the shoulders after that front foot is already rotated forward. I'm sure there's some throwing drills or some medicine ball drills that would be very helpful for this as well. So use your resources to help you get yourself better. All right, Mr. Mason, we got your 2 videos going to be synced up here that we'll let you watch 2 times in a row before we revisit that note that was just at the beginning of your chapter. And then we will use a big league video or 2 to help really illustrate these differences that we're talking about. And then we'll get you understanding where you can find these drills that are going to help you work on this at home so you can create this muscle memory so we can begin to make these improvements. And really the only thing that we really want to be focusing on right now for you is creating some rhythm in your glove path. So hopefully you were watching your glove and what it was doing, or rather not doing, as we're making this pitch here. So we can see that your glove starts in the center of your chest, and then your hands separate, and your throwing arm goes through some movements, but this glove just stays right here in line with your chest the entire time. If you didn't even have a right arm, nothing at all would be different in your delivery because your arm just stays right there the whole time. Never moves, right? The same position it's in right now, it's still in right now. And it's going to be tough to feel like we got some rhythm and some flow in our body if we're just dead arm the whole time with our front arm and this back arm is trying to do some stuff to create rhythm. So we need to get this glove getting some rhythm with our arm, right? So as this is going forward, so here's my glove. As this is going forward, let's get that arm out. Let's raise that elbow away from our ribs. Let's raise that elbow away from our ribs. Let's raise that elbow away from our ribs as our elbow extends away from our body. Let's raise that elbow up and extend it. Let's raise that elbow away from my ribs and extend my hand out towards my target. Let's raise my elbow up from my body and extend my hand towards my target. And then I can finish it and bring it to where it's at. It's in a great spot here. Fantastic spot here. It takes me a lot of work to get a lot of kids just to finish their glove here. But we don't want it to just be here the whole time. Okay? So if I get a couple big leaguers here, and we get side view, and because we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on yours explaining it, because it's very easy to see, I will get some different guys, a variety of guys here, so that way we can see all the different ways that we can go about moving this glove. Okay, and we'll go one more. Who would you know in this area? Sandy Alcantara, the Cy Young winner. All right, so we'll pull up all these random dudes, and let's just watch where each one of their gloves go. All right, so Sandy is not going to get too far out in front of him, but it's not going to stay in that center of his chest. Out here, his chest is here. So that's the farthest his glove gets. We'll drop that down. Garrett Cole is going to be completely different. We'll pause him when his glove gets the furthest away from his body. Right there. Logan Gilbert. Similar to Garrett Cole, where it's more of a reach towards the catcher. We'll go Abner Uribe, who is similar to those two guys, but instead of it going towards the catcher, it's like going into third base dugout, but it does get fully extended in the elbow. Kyle Harrison, low slot guy. Not the greatest angle to see where that is, so we'll dump that. Hunter Brown, a product of Wayne State. We'll do the same thing. We'll pause his glove when it gets the furthest away. So again, his arm elbow is fully extended, but not just towards the target. It's into like third base dugout like our previous guy. Paul Skeens. Okay, same way. The arm gets pretty much fully extended, but even more towards that dugout than our last two guys. We got Zach Greinke over here. Like OG Zach Greinke when he was winning Cy Youngs and Gold Gloves in like the same seasons. And his same thing, extending all the way like Paul Skeens out that way. But it does get further from his body as it's about right there now. All right, so that's all of our guys. And now we'll do the same thing. We'll pause the video when your glove gets the furthest away from your body, which is pretty much like right now. Because it's not getting any further, right? So if I just pull these guys back up one at a time, we can see where their glove is at, and then it gets to their chest just like yours. Right? Just like yours is there. Garrett Cole's all the way out, and then it gets to his chest. It's all the way out, and then it gets to his chest. It's all the way out, then it's to his chest. It's all the way out, and then it's to his chest. It's all the way out, and then it's to his, excuse me, you got the hiccups, to his chest. It's all the way out, and then it's to his chest. So yours just stays at the chest the whole time, so he's got to get some rhythm. So if we want to work on that, we're going to want to utilize one of the best resources you're going to have to help you with pitching, and that's my YouTube page. Over here, how to get better. Click the mechanical drills playlist. You're going to scroll down until you can find something that looks like you're moving your hands. Something like this slide pad drill is going to help you get rhythm with your feet moving and your hands moving at the same time. Oh, look, here's a drill over here. Hand separation. That's what we were just listening and talking about that whole time. That can be one as well. We can come down further and see then and do some throwing drills that can specifically be thinking about what's my glove doing. Okay. So there's definitely ways for us to be working at home, practicing this if we're using our resources. And pitching daily is the best resource that you probably have access to. Help yourself get better. So if you don't use it, you lose it.